So just coming home today. So God bless America, the USA. So just coming home.
Big Joe Singleton, welcome to the show. Thank you for being our special guest today on the Veteran Kettle podcast. How are you and your family?
I'm Gucci, man. Thanks for having me.
That's wonderful. So, the first question today that we have for you is what inspired you to join the military?
All right, so that's a good question, right? So I didn't like school, and my mom said my senior year, she said, "You keep messing up in school. I ain't paying for school." Matter of fact, my mom, she's right there. She was like, "I ain't paying for no school, so I don't know what you're gonna do." So I was messing up in school. I barely graduated, right? So I'm trying to figure out what I was gonna do with my life, right? So I didn't like school so much. I barely carried book sack. I barely carried paper, pencil, anything. So one day I was in class. I didn't have a pencil, and the little girl that I had liked sat next to me. I was like, "Hey, you got a pencil?" And she handed me a pencil. On the pencil it said 1-800 get USCG. And I was like, what is USCG? So I went to the library. Back in '97, you had to go to the library to look up whatever it was. So I went and looked up what it was. And I was like, oh, this is just like DNR. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what DNR is, right? So I was like, yeah, I can do that. So, you know what I'm saying? I called the number and the recruiter came down and she was fine. I was like, oh, this is fine. You know what I'm saying? So that's actually how I ended up in the Coast Guard. You know what I'm saying? And my mom said she wasn't gonna pay for school. If
Okay.
I would have went to school, I knew I would have messed up.
Yeah.
And the girl handed me a pencil, and that was how I ended up in the Coast Guard.
That's one of the most unique going into the Coast Guard stories I've ever heard. That's amazing.
Yeah, the girl was like, she had, I don't even know where she got the pencil from, but it was 1-800 get USCG. And I called the lady, my recruiter. I remember the recruiter name? I can't remember her name, but she was a cute lady. And she came to the house, right? And she was like, oh, you overweight. So I had to lose weight to actually get in the military. So I called her like March. So from March to like December, I had to lose like 50 pounds. So I would play ball in the morning on the military base, come home, play ball at the park, and then I would go walking and running after playing ball once I got home. I did that for like 6, 7 months just to lose the weight to go in the military. You know what I'm saying? But when the recruiter came to the house, this is how she really got me. She was like, you thinking about going into the Coast Guard? I was like, yeah. She was like, well, let me explain the other four branches before you decide on the Coast Guard. She
Okay.
was like, so the Army and the Marines, quality of life suck. She was like, they go to war. They the first ones to go. She was like, the Navy go out to sea for 6 to 8 months. She's like, you end up being somebody's boyfriend. I was like, what? She was like, the Coast Guard only go out to sea for a week. And after a week, they got to pull in the port. I was like, she was like, you can do that. That's doable. So lo and behold, right? I graduate boot camp February, whatever, whatever it was, February '98, right? March, no, I said April 1st was my first port call was Jamaica. She ain't lie. 18 years old. First port call was Montego Bay, Jamaica, out there. Wow. So that's how I ended up. So she broke it down. She was like, if you can get into the Air Force, I will go in the Air Force. She actually said that. She was like, if you can go in the Air Force, go in the Air Force. I called the Air Force. The Air Force came out and it was like, you too big. I was like, dang, you ain't even gonna tell me to lose weight. He was like, nah, you just too big. I was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? So she worked with me for the 8 months to get me to lose the weight. She would come in, she would drive me to Columbia, South Carolina to the what is it, the MEPS. And you know what I'm saying? And the first two times I went to MEPS, I didn't get in because I was still overweight. You know how they used to do the little wristband or whatever?
Hmm.
Little measurements. So
Yeah.
when I used to go to MEPS, the MEPS dude was like, your body type don't match. And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? He was like, you got a little wrist a skinny neck, you know what I'm saying, but you wide. I was like, when I played football, he was like, you look like you play football, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? The first 2 times I went, you know what I'm saying, she drove me. I couldn't get in. The last time I took the bus, and you know what I'm saying, I got in. So it took me 3 tries at Mills before I got in.
Yeah, that's amazing. You said something that really stood out. You said that the recruiter worked with you to help you prepare yourself in losing the weight.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Coast Guard recruiters.
Yeah, she used to come down. Matter of fact, it was Savannah, Georgia. She used to come down, you know what I'm saying, check on me like every, you know what I'm saying, every month. She'd be like, how you doing? Da 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 da. She would take me in the front yard, take a little picture. She was like, you doing good, baby. No, you can make it, baby. You can make it. I'd be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, hyping me up and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, she did that.
That's a great story. So, wow. So, after you got in, what was boot camp like for you?
It's so boot camp was weird because there's not a lot of black people in the Coast Guard. Not back then, you know what I'm saying? So it was like 50 white guys and 2 black people, you know what I'm saying? But the cool thing was one of the CCs was a little short black guy. He was a short black chief, you know what I'm saying? So remember in boot camp where they used to put you on the, I think put you on the deck, put you on deck or whatever, you had to do the push-ups and sit-ups and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I made it all the way through boot camp and never had to do none of that. Like I was Gucci, you know what I'm saying? I was the little artist, you know, they could do the draw in a little bag or whatever. I did that, but I got in trouble like once for laughing at somebody else getting in trouble. And I didn't know the CC was behind me looking at me draw. So I was sitting there drawing, you know what I'm saying? And son, get on deck. I was like, ah. So he was like, what? What you say, what? I said, oh my God. I said, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Yo, but it's like, get on deck. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So, dude, he's sitting there laughing at me because I'm laughing at him, and the CC all down my neck. Yo, it was crazy. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? I went during Christmas, and I got a chance to go off base. To the family used to come and was like, you know what I'm saying, get like 2, 3 recruits. All right, and then take you out into town or whatever. And I had like some bland food at these people's house for Christmas. But I was so thankful just to get out the base because it was hard to look left or right because you know he was gonna get in trouble. So I looked it forward for like 2 months, like 8 weeks. All I did was this. I was scared to do this or this. You know what I'm saying? But I had fun. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I was 18 in New Jersey in the snow, cold.
Yeah.
First day of boot camp was December 2nd, 1997.
Yeah, that's quite the experience. December 7th. You said in December 9/7.
Yep.
Absolutely. So after boot camp, what was your first unit?
So my first unit was a buoy tender out of Jacksonville, Florida. I didn't even know what a buoy tender was. It's like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? It was a big black ship with 2 black people on
it. What was your experience like?
So I think that was the first time I ever experienced racism in my life. You know wow. Okay. So I'm 6'2", about back then 6'2", about 240. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't a little guy. You know what I'm saying? So I was a fireman, and my MK1 was racist. He used to call me Treetop all the time. And I don't know if he was talking about Treetop like he wanted to hang me, or he was just calling Treetop because I was taller than him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm dead serious. You know what I'm saying? So that was the first time I ever experienced racism. Besides that, you know what I'm saying, it was them $350 checks every 2 weeks that used to kill me. You know what I'm saying? When I first got in, because I didn't know. When I went in, I was like, yo, I'm gonna be killing it. I'm gonna be making all this money, blah, 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 blah. I get to my first unit, got my first check, and was trying to figure out why they was trying to take all this money out of my check for a sea bag, some boots, some pants. You know what I'm saying? I think my first check was like $275 or something for 2 weeks worth of work. You know what I'm saying? And it was cool. I spent more time off the boat than I did on the boat because we had trop hours. You know what I'm saying? Trop hours was what, 7 to 1. Every other weekend you had duty. My first trip south, you know what I'm saying? Because they had us doing drug ops too. I didn't know buoy tenders did drug ops. We did drug ops and Haitian and Cuban ops, right? So my first trip, we would go down to like a South Patrol and service buoys, but at the same time, they have us on the back end looking for drug boats, Cubans and Haitians, right? So one night, you know what I'm saying? Remember, you've been on the way. Remember, you used to do the drills, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fresh. I'm from South Carolina. I don't know nothing about nothing, right? So the first time the little drill alarm sound, I didn't know what was going on, right? So they talking about they off the starboard side, they off the starboard side. I'm like, who's off the starboard side? So I go outside, and there's some Haitians. No, it was some Cubans floating in the middle of the water. So we brought them on board. I'm looking at these people, and I'm trying to figure out what is it so bad that will make these people float in the middle of the ocean on a 2x4, basically, right? So the next day was my first trip to Cuba, and I figured out why real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like it was real bad. So I get there, and the first time I ever seen a banana rat. You ever seen a banana rat?
Yeah, plenty of.
Hey, right, exactly. You know, I'm like, yo, look at this big cat. You know what I'm saying? And the cat, that's a rat. You know what I'm saying? So about 2 weeks after that, you know what I'm saying, was the first time we ran into the Haitians, and we went to Haiti. At 18 years old, some of
Yeah,
the best experiences in your life because real quick you see how small you are in the world. You know what I'm saying? How good you got it in the world.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all those people that's out there because when I got there, I had no idea,
yeah,
like no idea. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I sat there and said a prayer on how lucky I was to be in the position that I was. You know what I'm saying? Like I never took those experiences for granted.
That's right.
So people see like Cuba and they see Haiti because you remember they opened Cuba up and they had like going to resorts. I think they opened a part of Haiti up and you can go to like the resorts and stuff too. And they see how it
Mhm.
looked on the brochures and stuff. Because I remember the first time I went to Jamaica. Remember, like they say, Jamaica's a nice place, and you see the brochures and all that good stuff. But the Coast Guard didn't put into those nice places. You know what I'm saying? So my first experience in Jamaica was crazy because I was like, "Where in the world you got me?" And I'm not getting off no boat. No, it's not about to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because I was scared. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I was scared because they walking around the street with M16s and it was crazy.
Yeah, it's real.
Real is real.
Yeah. So after your first unit, what did you do after your first unit? Where did you go next?
After the first unit, I went to Cali, and you know how Cali was. A school, Petaluma, California. I got there right before Thanksgiving, 1999. And I think Petaluma, California, I think that was the best time I think I had in life. You know what I'm saying? No, for real, because
Nice.
it was so carefree, the camaraderie, the people I met, you know what I'm saying? Because me and you met in Cali
Yeah.
during that same time, and everything that was going on, you know what I'm saying? It was a crazy time.
It was
So
lit.
yeah,
It
it
was
wasn't lit.
it was lit. It was lit.
It was past lit, man. 99, 2000, you know what I'm saying? Yo, it was crazy. That was a crazy time. So Petaluma, California. So I
Yeah.
went to I went for telecommunications to be a TC, which ended up turning into an OS, right? So I don't know how I made it through A school without getting in any trouble. I ain't even gonna lie. Listen, I'm not even gonna front. I don't know how I made it out of California without getting in any trouble. The Angels, everybody was looking over me because I don't know how I made it out of California without getting in trouble. Yo, from y'all having to come look for me, all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I
No, we had a good time.
Yeah, we did have a good time. You know, after that, I went to the Chuck Time, went to Charleston, South Carolina. Um, that was my first, I guess you could say technically real unit as rated. You know what I mean? Like I had an actual job. I got there, I was 20, I was 21, I think, and then it was just like a regular job. You know, regular 9 to 5, 12-hour watches, sliding weekends, two on, two off. You know what I'm saying? It was cool.
And what was your rank and like your job description? What was some of the things or roles and responsibilities you had?
So it was an E4. I made E5 there. So I did search and rescue. So I was the liaison who was talking to the person in trouble and talking to the person trying to find the person. You know what I'm saying? So the person who was in distress, trying to talk to the people to find them. You know what I'm saying? I was like the middleman. I used to do that, and then I used to do all the secret squirrel stuff. You know about the secret squirrel stuff,
Hmm.
and that's all I did while I was there.
And you were operations specialist. That's who does secret squirrel stuff.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you have for a young person who's thinking about a career in the military?
So, like when we was talking off camera, you know what I'm saying? If you're a young man, I suggest go get a trade first before you do anything, and then go into service. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got a trade, you're thinking about family. Because you can always, if you have a son, you can always teach your son how to eat. You can pass along your trade, and then you can go in the military, get your military benefits, Air Force or Coast Guard. I don't suggest any other branch. You know what I'm saying? Because the way of life is a little different. You know what I'm saying? Air Force like a regular 9 to 5. Coast Guard is not as strenuous as all the other branches. You know what I'm saying? And go in the military and do your due diligence and get your schooling while you in the service. So you can basically, if you go get a trade, it's basically your associate's degree. And you can come in, and when you come in the military, you got different options. You can become an officer if you got the right amount of credits. And then if you do come in the military, you still can do a little extra side work and make extra money. You can get your LSC and whatever trade you got, so you can build up a portfolio or get some experience. So if you only want to do 4 years, you know what I'm saying, the 4 years that you got under your belt, then you can use your trade when you get out to be ahead of the majority of people in the world. And if you eventually get a family, you can pass down generational wealth by teaching them your trade.
Great advice. Great advice. What advice would you have for active duty service members who may be transitioning to retirement or separation from service?
So if you can, 6 months before you get out, if you know your out date, try to save as much money as possible, because you never know what kind of circumstances you're gonna face when you get out. You know what I'm saying? You think you might go one way, but the world takes you another way, because life be life and sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because when I got out, I thought I was gonna do this, but ended up doing something else. You know what I'm saying? I was able to do what I wanted to do because I had the finances to do it. You know what I'm saying? Some people get out and not as fortunate because they didn't know. Try to get the your resources for what it is that you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go to school, contact the VA and get your schooling done. Well, the ball rolling for your school. You know what I'm saying? If you know you want to go into the workforce, I think the Coast Guard got resume writers and stuff that help you get your resume and stuff together if you want to go straight into the workforce. You know what I'm saying? So whatever your circumstances is before you get out, just make sure you have your finances in order, and make sure you have the hard conversations with the people that's close to you about the stuff that might come up. You know what I'm saying? So if it do come up, there won't be no surprises. You know what I mean?
That's great advice. Thank you for that, Joe. Joe, we got to our last question, and man, you shared so much information with us, so much wonderful information and helpful information today. I hope our listeners really enjoy it. This final question I have for you is, now that you are no longer in service for the U.S. Coast Guard, how do you spend your days, and what do you have going on in your world?
So the funny thing about it is I always thought, once I got out, I needed to get a federal job so I can buy back my time. And you know what I'm saying? Like we was talking earlier, I didn't realize how bad the military ruined me as far as structure. You know what I'm saying? So I got out here on these people jobs and didn't like it because it didn't have no structure. You know what I'm saying? So I do photography. I do portraits. I do weddings. I've been doing that for the last 7 years. But since the portrait and the wedding business has gotten oversaturated, meaning that everybody thinks there's a photographer now, maybe with their cell phone or side hustle or whatever, I had to pivot. So I got to pivot to content creation, which is just a subsidiary of actually photography. You know what I'm saying? I figured out how I could make marketing content for small to medium-sized businesses on Instagram and Facebook for ad service like Reels and posts. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a small business and you don't exactly know how to market or do the Reels, I got a course basically that breaks it down step by step. And I also do consultations for businesses for 6 months to 12 months to set you up so you can do it for yourself. So you don't actually need me to do it for you. You consult with you to where you can do your strategies for your marketing, for your niche, for who your target audience is. I do all that in a consultation for you.
That's great. And we're going to put them links in the description, y'all. So anybody's watching, those links in the description so you can contact Joe at those links.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, man, this is dope, man. I'm glad to see people, you know what I'm saying, actually doing stuff, you know what I'm saying? You see people and you always wonder what they're doing, but, to actually see somebody that I know, love, and inspire actually doing it, you know what I'm saying, that really, really hit home, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember the nights out in Cali, you know what I'm saying, we used to talk about the future and stuff, and here we are 24 years later, you know what I'm saying, able to come together and actually have a conversation about, what we've been through in life. You know what I mean? So that's great. That's great, man.
Yes, absolutely, Joe. Well, we want to thank you so much for being our special guest today on the Veteran Kettle podcast. Anytime that you want to come back and share any updates or anything with us, you have a home here. Once again, the links are going to be in the description to all of the products and services that Joe has to offer. And we want to thank you for your service, Joe.
Yeah, man.
And you and your family have a peaceful, positive, and productive start to your week. And we'll see y'all next time right here on the Veteran Kettle podcast.
Happy holidays from DB Chef TV. Get dipped in fresh drip with 25 off the entire website from now to January with a huge selection and savings for every Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and Christmas list. Celebrate the holiday with DB Chef TV gifts. Visit www.dbcheftv.com and tap the gift shop link.
This whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016, 160 self-sustainability. Jump on a list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not even know what responsibility means. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, support your interests, and live.
So just coming home, today.